This video is brought to you by MoviePalette.com and enter ROOM15 for 15% off of your palette. Hey horror fans, I am the Blood Guy. Welcome back to another review. And yes, it is the Christmas season. Christmas is just a few days away. I meant to do another Christmas sort of marathon of films for a while, but of course, starting in November, I was doing real-life serial killer films, and I got really sucked into that, to the point where I didn't really feel like doing Christmas films. But I figured I should at least do one. At first, I was going to be like, maybe I should do like 12 days of Christmas, but I was really getting into the serial killer films, and didn't feel like doing Christmas ones. But I figured I should do at least one. In fact, back in sometime over the summer, I went through all of season 1 of Hulu's Into the Dark series, all but one episode of season 1. I started watching it, and I realized, wait, this is a Christmas episode. I'll just save it for December. So I remembered that, and I will be doing this review and another one. I already started Into the Dark back in the summer, so I figured why not just do the two Christmas episodes. I know there's a ton more Christmas movies out there. I plan to buy a bunch of them, but maybe next year I'll be more in the Christmas spirit. So I did watch the two Into the Dark Christmas episodes, Puka and A Nasty Piece of Work. I hadn't seen either. I watched Puka last night. I did enjoy it. I meant to do a video last night, didn't get around to it. So I'll be doing that one next, and this video is going to be for the season 2 episode, the Christmas episode, A Nasty Piece of Work, which I had no idea what this was going to be about. I didn't, kind of like most episodes in this series, I did not know what to expect. Of course, for those that don't know, Into the Dark is a show on Hulu. That's a co-production with Blumhouse, where each episode is a 80, 90-minute movie centered around a holiday. Each month a new one came out, and it was centered around the holiday of that month. And for the most part, I liked most of them. I don't remember if I ranted on any, but I remember most of them being okay to actually pretty good. This one I was actually surprised by. I didn't know what to expect. I knew very little about the plot, which, side note, if you follow my channel, you know I'm not a fan of Blumhouse. I've never been a fan of Blumhouse. For every, Jordan Peele film or Black Phone or something like that, for every one of those, you get a dozen whatever else they make. I have a whole playlist of Blumhouse reviews, mostly rants. They're my least favorite company. I don't like Blumhouse. But for the most part, I've liked this series. This was directed by, because each episode has a different director, Charles Hood, written by Paul Soter, and it stars Kyle Howard as our lead, our antagonist played by Julian Sands, who is awesome. This is probably his most, from what I've seen, most gleefully villainous roles. I've always liked him as an actor, but his look, his wonderful British accent makes him excellent to play a villain, and he's great in this. Dustin Milligan, Angela Sarafi. That's not her whole name. Sarafian. It couldn't just say it. Apologize for the pause. This thing's very slow. Angela Sarafian, Dustin Milligan, Molly Hagan, and Natalie Hall. That's essentially our core cast. Sorry, I was just reading something else. And yes, it is Christmas. It's basically, it's not a movie I can get too in-depth over, because it's kind of an escalation film. Starts out small, and there's all these twists and turns throughout that's constantly building up. But it's basically this guy, Ted, played by Kyle Howard, who he has a lot of drive, a lot of ambition, a lot of initiative. He's very smart. He wants to climb the ranks of this equity company that he works for. but he's kind of a doormat. He's walked all over by his boss, Julian Sands, and his kind of assistant, or maybe he's the same level as Ted, named Gavin. He's played by Dustin Milligan. Until finally, the boss, Steven, invites Ted over to his house for a Christmas party. He invites his wife, played by Angela Serafian. But when he gets there, he finds out Gavin has also invited his wife. And he was invited and brought his wife. And what ensues is this sort of would you rather kind of situation of different events and scenarios to see which one is more fit for this very lucrative promotion. That's basically the broad strokes of the film. It kind of reminded me of, like, if you take the Jason Bateman, Kevin Spacey portion in relationship in Horrible Bosses, kind of mix Would You Rather with it, you kind of get this film. Now, it's not Would You Rather like, would you cut your hand off for the promotion? It's not stuff like that. But it's more about, like, okay, how would you handle this situation? Like, there's all these, I can't really say that. Very serious situations will be presented, and Steven will listen to Ted and Gavin sort of give their ideas of what they should do. Or there's one part where they have to be truthful and talk about secrets that they're keeping from their wives, how they handle it. And it's really just this really cruel kind of mind game that Steven is playing with these two to see which one is more suitable for the promotion. Now, and I really did enjoy it. Now, the only thing Christmassy about it would be the setting and the music. I mean, Julian Sands and his wife live in this luxurious mansion that's completely decorated to look like Christmas. Between that and a lot of, like, Tchaikovsky Christmas music, it doesn't really utilize the holiday theme very much, which I've noticed with a number of these episodes. Only a few of them really embodied the holiday. One thing I can imagine people saying is that the characters are insufferable. Now, especially the character of Gavin. Now, I'll say similar to a film like Bodies, 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 where the characters are meant to be insufferable, they're meant to be douchey, they're meant to be annoying, and if they are, that means they're doing their job well. Now, I don't think Gavin is supposed to be as bad as the characters in Bodies, 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 even though I really enjoyed that film. I would say the social commentary works better for that film. I don't know if there's social commentary with this film. If anything, maybe it's just to kind of show what people might do, even to loved ones, or their moral compass to get a promotion, to earn more money, have a better life. But also kind of show, like, you know, if you have everything, how fulfilled are you? Because there's kind of this line. There's this line that Ted says, kind of to the effect of, like, are you so rich and so empty that you have to turn to essentially torturing people to get your kicks? Like, is your life so hollow that you have to stoop to this just to be entertained? So I think it's kind of a social commentary on both. It kind of works. Now, does this movie get pretty ridiculous and kind of hard to believe? Yes, it does. But it's still very entertaining. And it gets to the point where, minor spoiler, I guess, to where Julian Sands and his wife have sort of planned this whole evening that when things happen, you can't tell if they're true or not. You don't know if this is another gag or another test, or if things really are escalating for real. And I thought that did a pretty good job. It does have a pretty steady escalation. The pacing and the escalation of these scenarios and tests and things that they do, it's not quite like a roller coaster. Like, well, that was extreme. Oh, that's not much. Oh, that was, it's a pretty steady incline of suspense and intensity. Now, one thing I've looked at for all these Into the Dark episodes is, was this idea, did it warrant a feature-length film, which it's shorter than some of the other ones. It's less than 80 minutes. I think it's only like 75 minutes. But it goes by pretty quickly. It's very well paced. Did this warrant the runtime, or was this an anthology story that could have been told in like a 22-minute Tales from the Crypt episode or a short film? I would say this worked as a full feature film. I think it utilized its time, its characters, its writing. Now, do some of the characters do really unbelievable or stupid things? Of course, but I think that's always going to happen. One thing I did like, which I don't know if this was intentional, because Eyes Wide Shut takes place around Christmas as well, which that's one I could have reviewed. I absolutely love Eyes Wide Shut. It's one of my favorite Kubrick films. As you see on the cover, these face masks, which kind of remind me of that episode of Twilight Zone where the family has to wear the ugly masks until midnight, and then when their inheritance is read, that's when they can take them off. It kind of reminded me of those. Those masks do have a role in the film, but not until the very end. That kind of reminded me of Eyes Wide Shut. I was kind of wondering if it was going to go in an Eyes Wide Shut direction, because there are some things that I will say were not planted very well, which is when Ted first pulls up, he sees people peeking from the blinds, like two people, then they back away at the same time. And people like behind the cupboards watching people and grabbing someone like through a cabinet. It doesn't really go anywhere. I mean, unless it's like the ending with all the people wearing masks, but I don't really think the setup with people sort of hanging out in these secret compartments of the house watching people, I don't know if that setup was done very well, because you kind of forget about it throughout the film. You forget those scenes have happened. But I still thought it was enjoyable. I thought it was going to be a bit more stylish. I really liked the opening credits, which is sort of a horrible boss's moment. He tries to do something nice for Steven. He chastises him, something to do with his golf clubs. So he goes in the bathroom, and you just see him like writhing in the mirror. And he takes the golf club and smashes the mirror. And in slow motion, we see all the glass flying, and in slow motion. And it cuts back and forth between that and a black screen, where we get like the cursive Christmas font with a caroling version of "We Wish You a Merry Christmas," and the broken glass looks kind of like snow. Very cool opening credits. I really like that. But overall, I thought it was a good. It definitely kept me hooked, kept me interested. Excuse me, still getting over that cough. I will say it didn't utilize its holiday setting as much as other episodes, or theme, I should say. That the setting is the most Christmassy thing about it. I thought the acting overall from everybody was good. Yes, even Gavin, even his quote dingbat wife. I thought they played their parts very well. They were exactly what they were supposed to be. I like Ted as sort of the cynical, walked all over everyman. And I really liked Julian Sands as just this gleefully sociopathic boss who just gets so much joy out of just watching these employees essentially do whatever he wants. Some parts do get kind of... It does get really twisted at points. All its twists and turns, I think, were done very well. I always believed what I was seeing. Excuse me. Just so that every twist, I was just like, oh, they got me again. Especially the one involving their son. I thought that was really twisted. And then when you find out, oh no, that's another thing, I was like, they got me again. But there's not too much I can say without getting a spoiler. So this is one I can definitely recommend. Is it destined to be a Christmas classic? No. No, it's not. I don't know if I'll actually do a spoiler section. I'll probably just say, yeah, this film was really good. Because I do want people to check it out. It would be a fun thing to watch around the Christmas season. But so yeah, I'm not going to do a spoiler section because the whole movie is kind of a spoiler. But yeah, it's kind of like if you take Horrible Bosses, kind of a touch of Would You Rather, but kind of done sort of like a twisted job interview in a way. And you're really just watching the moral compass of these people kind of be tested for this promotion. So, yeah, I thought this was a really fun episode. Did I like it more than Puka? I might have liked it more as a movie than Puka, but I think Puka was better in its execution of what it tried to do. I think Puka might have been a, a better written. But I still thought this was fun. Yeah, not a Christmas classic, but it's still entertaining. It's still fun. And, you might not see a lot of things coming. The twists and turns and the escalation are really what makes this fun. So, yeah, that's one of 2 Christmas films that I'll be doing this year. Sorry if you were expecting more Christmas films. I know the last 3 years I spent almost a whole month doing it. But I'm really just going to do this and Puka for this year. I even got a brand new hat for it. But anyway, so that's a nasty piece of work. A fun Christmas film, but not a classic. But anyway, stay tuned for Puka, which I'll try to upload tomorrow. And thank you for watching.